Hey everybody, good to see you. Welcome to Localite. Today we are discussing canned fruit, actually, and Muirhead Canning Company here in the Dells. One of their owners, Mr. Russell Loughmiller, owns it with his wife, and Russell has joined me in the studio today to educate us about canned fruit and how you make it and the differences and all of that. So let's start with, what is your operation all about? I mean, it's a small, family-owned, operated type of plant. Let's talk about that.
It's a small cannery that was started back in 1946 by Sam Muirhead, and we produce peaches, pears, plums, cherries, apricots. The customers, just customers around the Northwest that have found out about our product through friends, family, people that have shared with them. It's just owned by my wife and I. We found out about it a few years ago through family who found out about the product through some friends of theirs. And so we bought the cannery in 2006 from Randy and Don Barrett. Oh, okay.
So we're pretty recent at this.
Yeah, we're pretty new at the whole the canning thing. Growing up, my mom canned fruit. Canned a lot of things, vegetables also. She was actually certified through the local extension as a master canner. So that's my only claim to any connection to the canning knowledge. And so hopefully that knowledge is passed on through the genes, but maybe not.
Well, it sounds like it. So you guys have a very interesting system. I mean, when a piece of fruit comes in to when it finally goes out and is ready to be sold, there's a whole process. Walk me through that process, the conveyor belts and all that stuff.
Well, so let's take the example of a peach. When we get peaches in, we have bins, and they're called a 3/8 bin. They're about 16 inches deep, and we do that very specifically so that the fruit isn't piled very high in the bin. If it was piled too high, because we're canning it ripe, it would bruise it and damage the fruit. So we send those bins out to growers. The growers, you know, when the fruit is ready to be picked, that they can handle it without bruising it and damaging the fruit, and put it in the bins, but still is ripe, you know, then they're picking it and putting the peaches in the bins. Then they put them in their cold room, and we have a truck that picks them up and brings them to the cannery. And if they're just perfect, which we hope they are, you know, we'll put them right into the cold room, or we'll start canning them that day, depending on where we're at with our schedule. If they're not quite just where we like them ripeness, you know, we'll have them outside of the cold room for maybe a day until they get there just perfect on the ripeness, and then again we're either canning them or putting them in the cold room until we can run them within the next several days.
Okay.
And then so when we're running, let's say we're pulling bins out of the cold room, we pull them out. They go on a bin dumper. There's a person there that's looking at the bin, making sure everything's looking good, and then they're running the bin dumper. And you know, it's kind of as the bin tips up, they're rolling the fruit down gently onto the belt, and the fruit goes on the belt, and then
they kind of like doing a little bit of quality check on that too, making sure there's not any rotten ones or whatever.
If there's some rot or something, you know, they're pulling them out there. If they're too green, they're pulling them out there. And then they go on that belt down to the 3 stations by peach pitters, and it's just there's a person standing there that's grabbing a peach and putting him into the peach pitter.
One by one?
Yep, one by one.
Wow.
So each peach is picked up by hand and put into the peach pitter. And the peach pitter, the peach goes through there. There's 2 stages where first it has a blade on the bottom, and there's a shoe that comes down and pushes the peach onto that blade. And then the second stage is there's a second knife that comes from the top and comes down and cuts the peach in half and knocks the pit free.
Okay.
And so then the peaches drop down onto a belt that then goes onto an elevator that goes on we call it the cup up shaker, that takes all those peaches that are cut in half and shakes them and puts them onto the next conveyor belt with the cut side facing up. And so then we have people that are stationed there on that belt that are looking at that cut of the face of the peach and looking at the pit cavity, just making sure everything's clean, that all the pit's out, that there's no issues or concerns with the peach. And then we have after they go through that station, then they'll go over the cup down shaker, and that when they come out of there, the cut side is down on the belt and the skin is facing up. And this is where we would hit them with steam, and that loosens the skin. They're probably under the steam hood, just on that belt, just traveling under the steam hood for probably 45 seconds to a minute, and there's just direct steam being blown down onto them. Then they go under a cooling spray of water, and then right after that, we have a station where people are standing there and they just slip the skins off. And most of the people there are so much faster than I can do it. I'll stand there and try and help, if there's a little bit of a rush or something. And usually I'm doing, a peach with two hands, but so many of them, they can just with one hand they grab it and they just kind of slip, and the skin just all slips off with that. It's just like home canning, just on a bigger scale.
Well, we're going to talk more about the fruit when we come back, and a little bit more of the history of your cannery. So we have Muirhead Cannery here on Localite today, so stay with us. We'll be right back.